That familiar voice getting ready to join us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Anish Shroff, voice of the Panthers, host of Panther Talk, which you can hear Mondays during the football season, 6 o'clock right here on 99.9 The Fan, starting up this Monday. And Anish and Tom Luginbill, Lugs, will be live streaming during practice tomorrow morning for the Carolina Panthers. You can catch that on the YouTube, Panthers.com, and the Panthers Twitter account. So Anish is boots on the ground following everything about the Panthers preseason, and he's hopefully going to pass along a bunch of that insight to us right now. Anish, thank you very much for taking the time and joining us. I said this yesterday, but I get suspicious. It's maybe a flaw in my personality when all I hear is good things about a young player when everybody is over the heels in love. So I'll start with, is there anything that Tetairoa McMillan still needs to work on based on what you've seen in the preseason? Because I'm just hearing nothing but glowing reports.
Well, you have to remember a couple of things about preseason, spring training, whatever you want to call it. Everybody's in the best shape of their lives. Culture and continuity mean everything. We're all trying to get better one day at a time. It's about the process. Listen, we're, a week and change into the beginning of training camp. I will say this. I've been to almost every practice. The guy catches everything. The guy catches everything. And you can, again, probably maybe find fault with, well, he's being defended by so-and-so instead of this guy, right? You can find all that, but what has impressed me is the ball could be to the right side of his helmet, to the left side of his helmet. He'll catch it. If it's to his chest, he'll catch it. If it's down at his waist, he'll catch it. Down at his ankles, he'll catch it. 2 hands, 1 hand. And maybe the thing that's been most impressive is just how smooth he is and how easy it makes it look. There's a fluidity to the way he plays. So, listen, I'll say this. Given that he is a top 10 pick, given that he was your first rounder, given that there's a lot of excitement around him, in Tetairoa McMillan's defense, the early returns get people excited. And let's be honest, that's kind of what training camp is for.
Absolutely. And, I'll just – the first part of your answer, I see you've done some of the same interviews we had, right, where everything is glowing and everything is culture and everything else. But it's also,
there's a handbook, that people go by.
There is. Actually, I would assume you're probably part of the media training that these players go through, and you're doing a good job because they're executing your plan very, very well when we talk to them. But there is also this emergence, right? Guys that are maybe on the roster bubble, we see the first flash in training camp, and then perhaps a couple months down the road, we see it flourish into a on-field product. Outside of McMillan and maybe Thielen, right? Because those guys are in a different category. We're also hearing a lot of positive about kind of the rest of the wide receivers. Who to you has kind of stolen the show in the biggest way in that room, other than Tetairoa McMillan and Adam Thielen?
This is an easy one. It's Hunter Renfrow. And I'm not sure many of us saw that coming when he was signed. I think when he was originally signed, it looked like an insurance play. Adam Thielen's going to be 35 in August. If something happens to him, hey, plug him in. You've got your possession receiver who, if there's something left in the tank, might be able to fill the void. He's 3 years removed from a Pro Bowl. Maybe you can capture some of what he had with Las Vegas. What the Panthers have found out is that there may be a lot more left in the tank. And Dabo Swinney was out at practice the other day and talking to a few people. Hunter Renfrow was ready to retire. Dabo convinced him, hey, give it one more shot, see what happens. It was Renfro who reached out to the Panthers saying, hey, would there be an opportunity here in camp? And given his pedigree, it's a low-risk, high-reward type of signing. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But everything from his route running, his sure-handedness, it just kind of seems, again, and this could be a training camp story. We've seen a lot of these over the years, but the reports have been glowing, and there is a feeling that he looks like the player who went to the Pro Bowl 3 years ago. This was a guy who had ulcerative colitis. It's a GI type of disease that causes inflammation. He dropped to about 150 pounds at one point. He's now back up, close to 180 in that range, back to his playing weight. But if Hunter Renfrow is another guy that you can plug into that wide receiver room, man, it's just another option for Bryce Young. And again, a guy who is 3 years removed from a 100-catch, 1,000-yard season.
Anish Shroff, voice of the Panthers, connecting with us here on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Don't forget to check out Panther Talk Mondays at 6 right here on 99.9 The Fan. Anish hosts. And tomorrow, Anish and Tom Luganbill will be live streaming during practice for the Panthers. You can catch that on the Panthers YouTube, Panthers.com, and Panthers Twitter account as well. Anish, if all the receivers seem to be getting kind of glowing remarks, that's got to bode well for the guy throwing it to him, right? You don't look good if Bryce isn't getting you the ball. What's the biggest difference between Bryce Young last year and Bryce Young this year to you?
Yeah, and I wouldn't even take anything of what we've seen in training camp into account. I just think there's a little swagger to him, a little bleep you to him, if you catch my drift,
yeah.
Which maybe was missing early, but the way his story arc has played out, he had to go through it. And I think we all openly wondered, every diehard fan, everybody in the building who covered the team, we all wondered when he got benched what that would mean, what sort of tipping point that would be for him, the franchise, his career, and the way he came through the fire and the way he finished the season. And Week 18 wasn't fluky. There was a build-up to that. He was building toward that. I was looking up some things today. Over the last 3 weeks of the regular season, only two quarterbacks in the NFL had a better quarterback rating than Bryce Young. One was Justin Herbert, one was Patrick Mahomes. So he played like somebody who has the pedigree of a number one overall pick down the stretch. I think if he just takes that next step, that next incremental step in his growth, this offense has a chance to be a top 10 offense. If he takes the giant leap, then the thought bubble can start to dream a little bit.
I like to let my imagination wander, but sometimes you do have to reel it back in. Let's turn to defense quickly here.
Yeah.
If there's been a kind of bug in the potato salad or whatever you want to call it of camp, it actually came right on the eve of camp with Josie Jewell's kind of surprise release and the concussion protocol and everything. Do you think the team is prepared to deal with replacing Jewell with the players on the roster already, or is a move on the way?
Well, the good thing is when you look at the 3-4 defense, right, the two positions that could be classified as low priority, middle linebacker, inside linebacker, and safety. So it's not as if you're down two outside linebackers. And again, those are critical positions in the 3-4 where those guys not only have to rush the passer, be able to drop back in coverage. They're better up front, a lot better up front. Obviously, Derrick Brown's coming back, so that's going to help the guys in the middle. I do think once you get past Roseboom, once you get past Trevin Wallace, there are questions about depth. I would also say the same can be said about cornerback. To me, yes, inside linebacker, you'd like to have another spare body, but that's usually a position where you can go find a guy after cuts and maybe get somebody who's played some meaningful snaps to be your third and fourth guy. The same with safety, which has kind of become a low priority position across the NFL. But I'll say cornerback is the one position where I think you could probably still beef up depth because you get past JC, who has an injury history, you get past Mike Jack. Maybe Shamar Bartholomew can be the guy. Maybe Shaw Smith-Wade can be the guy, but a lot of variables there after the top two.
Anish Shroff, voice of the Panthers. Last one for you before we let you go. Let's talk strengths, right? Strength of the defense, interior defensive line. We all know Derrick Brown. We all want him to come back as healthy as possible and be the same or better than he was prior to dealing with the injury last year. But who else or what else about that particular part of the field, that interior trenches of the defensive line, kind of makes it not just Derrick Brown and the Pips, but a unit that is such a strength?
So I'll give you this nugget. Last year, Shai Tuttle, who's about 300 pounds, and LeBrian Ray started 24 games for the Carolina Panthers. Those two are depth pieces, and I think you can probably say they're going to have to fight to make the 53 this year. So improvement across the board. Bobby Brown, to me, is kind of what you want as the guy who can eat up two blockers as a nose tackle in the 3-4. I interviewed him a couple of days ago. He's 6'4". He's probably 340. He looks like a mountain of a man. And now you've got him flanked by Derrick Brown, Ashawn Robinson, Turk Wharton. If you haven't seen the size of Turk Wharton's quads, my God, they look like sequoias. His quads have quads. Darren Gant, the Panthers.com beat writer, and I were talking about this the other day. Turk was telling me this guy squats close to 800 pounds, which hurts saying that out loud. And I asked him, what's your leg press? And he goes, well, how high does the machine go? I don't really count. I just kind of stick the needle in whatever the maximum weight of the machine is, and I can do that pretty easily. So he is a load. Again, that's going to make for just a market improvement. And, you know, last year the run defense was historically bad. You've now fortified the defensive front. Think of it this way. You give up 6 yards per play on first down, which is what the Panthers did last year. That impacts the defensive coordinator's ability to call plays on second and third down. You're now going off the kids menu because you can't dial up your blitz packages. You can't tell your outside edge rushers to go pin their ears back and get the quarterback. A lot was made about the pass rush last year, rightfully so, but having a much stouter run defense, football is all about the domino effects. What happened impacts what is going to happen. And I think the Panthers are going to be immeasurably better against the run this season, which should have a trickle-down impact on the rest of the defense.
I'm starting to see why you can maybe get by with finding a guy at linebacker when you have, I guess, a ton of sequoias up there eating up blocks and making their job easier. Anish, we appreciate you, as always, for taking the time. We'll continue to drive everybody towards Panther Talk and your live stream tomorrow. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it, Tim. Thank you.